Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Work It Wednesday. I wanted to go ahead and start out by saying welcome to Libra season. I have to shill for it because I myself am a Libra. My birthday's coming up this weekend, and I have this beautiful candle from the House of Intuition, who does not sponsor me, but that I love nonetheless, that I intend on lighting this weekend for my birthday. So happy birthday to all my Libra folk that have sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign. And I'm just going to say out of the gate, I don't know if it was the solar eclipse, it was the new moon, what it was, but I just feel like the last couple days have been just a shift, a total shift in my energy. I was feeling very slow and like sluggish, and just like everything was just taking so much time and energy and was just such a struggle. Like it was a constant ride on the struggle bus for the last couple weeks. And I don't know what that was about, but I just feel like a weight has been lifted. And I just am suddenly like so much more energetic and ready to just take on the world. Maybe it's just me, but please let me know in the comments. Maybe you're a Libra and this is for you, or an air sign. Maybe you've got Libra in your charts, or maybe I'm just, me. So, with that being said, this is not legal advice. Thank you so much for joining us. As appropriate, I have decided I'm going to go ahead and deploy my beautiful hourglass. Now, I call it an hourglass, but it's probably not an hour. It's like more like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. And what I thought is how apropos that I would use this to maybe limit the time of my readings, because I know sometimes I tend to blabber. So, I'm going to try to see how it goes. So, with that being said, I have turned the hourglass of officiation over, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the reading for our Work It Wednesday. So, what I'd like to start with is a discussion about this card here, which I'm not showing you yet, obviously. What I want to say is when I did my last reading that I've published on the channel, I did the reading and I cleaned everything up. I'm very tidy, very organized. I look around, I make sure everything is where it needs to be. And yet, sometimes, and this happens from time to time, I will come back a day or 2 days later, and there's still somehow a card on the floor that I've missed. And so I came in today to do this reading, and lo and behold, I somehow missed this 10 of Swords from my last reading. And I wanted to talk about that with our reading to begin with, because it was there and it was waiting for me. And I don't think that's an accident. So in this particular 10 of Swords diagram, we see a man looking off, as he were, to sort of the sundown here. And our 10 of Swords is usually suffering, death, pain, an end to something, right? The 10 typically represents an end to something, the beginning of a new cycle, shortly to occur thereafter. But many times in the traditional Rider Waite deck, the person in the 10 of Swords is kind of looking off to you, awake, alert, maybe kind of holding out a hand for hope. But this individual is just none of that in this particular deck. It was almost like he was looking off into the potential sunrise, the beauty, and he couldn't with it. And I felt like this was particularly significant, and so I'm going to put it over here for our Work It Wednesday, because perhaps you're in a place in your career where you feel like you're stagnant, you've come to the end, you've reached the highest level you're going to reach where you are. And, not to get preachy with it, but I know that personally in my career, sometimes it takes a major shift, a major event for you to be able to take the leap to something better. Very often, I find that people who have great ideas about maybe their own business they want to start or go off into a different direction, they're nervous to do so because they've got that paycheck coming in every week or every 2 weeks. And so they say, why would I sacrifice that to go off into something unknown and something new? And, you know, sometimes the universe says, well, if you're not going to take the action, I'll take it for you. And perhaps that job comes to an end. You're laid off, something happens where you lose that job, and now you have no other choice. And a lot of times it takes that brutal, unexpected change for us to actually take the leap forward. So while this is typically a card of sadness and death, I view it as an opportunity to jump into something new where maybe we would not have jumped before because we were nervous and thought maybe it won't work out well, or why would I give this up in favor of the unknown? So I just really feel like that sets the tone for us today. What I want to do from there is go ahead and draw some energy from another deck and see how this resonates with you, the viewer. This is, I believe, called the, oh, I don't remember the name of this deck. I'll put it in the comments there, but it's a modern oracle. It's meant to be interpreted accordingly. So I'll give it one more shuffle, and then Spirit, let's find out the energy of my viewer with respect to their career and their education, or whatever it is on their mind that they would seek to be doing here, or possibly doing. Maybe they're considering. Who knows? All right, Spirit, what would you say about my viewer? Okay, look, we got 2 cards already. I'm going to go ahead and put this to the side. We've got the Drama Queen and the Meditation Mishap. Interesting. So let's start with our Drama Queen. She is sassy. She's got a look about her that is very, I don't know, with the green eyes and everything. It makes me think of Rihanna for some reason. Of course, I love music, and everything kind of reminds me of music, but our Drama Queen over here, she's all about it. She's holding her own. Let's find out what the deck says about the Drama Queen, if you'll bear with me. The Drama Queen. This individual, bear with me, is the number 4 in this deck. And the number 4 traditionally represents in the regular tarot the Emperor. And that is an individual who is someone who is very self-assured, someone who is confident, but maybe somehow bound to the rules. So it's very interesting to me that we have a Drama Queen when the Emperor is someone who is very strict and rule abiding. And a Drama Queen to me is somebody who, doesn't necessarily stick by the traditional rules, or maybe is offended by or responds to violations of the typical rules. So, honestly, when I look at her in this card, I think it's like, bombastic side eye, somebody who's like, I'm doing things right. I'm doing it properly. Who are you? And with this, okay, this is crazy, but like with this black turtleneck outfit situation, I think of Steve Jobs and kind of his uniform with Apple. Um, so maybe that's significant to you, whether it's the fruit, the phone, and investment. I don't know, but it just makes me feel like this is somebody who, even though she's being called a drama queen, maybe the drama is that she's somewhat, I don't know, takes some personal affront to you deviating from the rules. So maybe you want to do something different, something out of the ordinary. Let's find out what the deck says. It says, in the upright, life is your stage, excuse me. Make it a comedy, not a tragedy. When the Drama Queen card struts its stuff upright, you're in your element. Your flair for the dramatic is turning everyday situations into riveting performances. That presentation at work, an epic monologue. Grocery shopping, a thrilling adventure in the urban jungle. Side quest. I'm hearing side quest. Embrace your inner thespian, but remember, sometimes it's okay to break character and just be you. So I'm not suggesting you're putting on a show, but maybe you're putting on a brave face. Maybe you're dealing with some intense stress at work, and despite that stress, you're putting on that brave face, you're moving forward, you're doing what you got to do. I mean, again, this is a very stoic looking individual despite the title of a drama queen. Moving on to our other energy, we've got the meditation mishap. And out of the gate, I got to say, what horrific things could possibly happen when you're in a meditative state? I mean, imagine you're sitting in your room, you're woosahing, you're breathing, you're maybe listening to some kind of beautiful meditative music, and like what could possibly go wrong? And then I look at these images here, and to me it speaks of the weight of the world on your mind. So perhaps you are someone who is sitting and you're trying to recenter, regroup, kind of get your wits about you and focus on what you really want. And yet there's all this outside noise and this static just clogging your brain, just constantly just and you know, I wouldn't call it necessarily a mishap, but it's an opportunity for you to find a way to distance yourself from that noise. And I'm going to call it like noise, like a static noise. And for me personally, I find that when I exercise, I always used to joke like I work out till I can't feel feelings anymore. And it's a joke, but I will say when I am working out, my mind is so focused on what I'm doing and making sure that I'm, doing the moves right, that I'm not performing the exercises in a way that's going to hurt myself, that it allows my mind to be clear of all of this. And trust me, we all have all of this, myself not excluded from that. There's just so much noise, family, friends, expectations, career desires, unfulfilled dreams. So, I think this card, at least before I read the definition, encourages us to do what we can to take our meditation to the next level, to take our centeredness to the next level. What is it you need to do to drown this out, to silence this noise for just a moment so you can really listen to who you are inside and what your intuition is telling you. But let's go ahead and find out what this particular deck says about that so we can get a sense of it. So for meditation mishap, this particular deck puts it at number 34. And what I like about the 34 is, first of all, it adds the 7. So perhaps you're a life path 7. Of course, some people think that the number 7 is lucky. I'm not judging either way. But in terms of the number 34, you've got the 3, which is your Empress energy in the traditional tarot. And number 4, again, we're talking about that Emperor energy. So not only could you be in some kind of divine connection, some sort of soulmate or twin flame relationship, but you could also be personally on your own journey of balancing that feminine energy of going with the flow with the masculine energy of I need to take control of my life. So let's see what it says. It says, when the meditation mishap card floats serenely into the upright position, your journey to mindfulness is more mindful than mindful. Your attempts at transcendence are interrupted by mental grocery lists, phantom phone vibrations, and an inexplicable urge to remember all the lyrics to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But hey, Rome wasn't penned in a day. You know, some of you might be in West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. It might have been where you spent most of your days. And I could go on because I'm older and dorkier, but perhaps some of those lyrics make some sense to you. Maybe for some reason you like the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, or you watched it as a child or teenager. But I think it does speak to exactly what I was saying is all the noise and the clutter drowning us out here. So, looking here, combining the two, we look at somebody who maybe has a unification. I'm going to unify these and say that this, internally, this person is trying to focus, trying to center, trying to balance the masculine of the 4 with the feminine of the 3 and get a real even spread of intuition combined with some manner of um, what's the more word I'm looking for? Um, desire for excellence is what I'll say. You're trying to balance those things, but in the meantime, you're putting on this very stoic face. Internally, like this face says to me, I'm trying this, I'm trying to portray this, but inside I've got a storm brewing. So if that sounds like you in your work environment, you are in the right place with this is not legal advice. And a tarot isn't in the official name of it, but it is tarot, oracle reading, etc. So that being said, what I do want to do is go ahead and pull a couple tarot cards on here for some clarification. And I'm pulling this from what's called the Bonefire Tarot, not to be confused with Bonfire Tarot, which is, mostly kindling. And anyway, it goes up in flames. It's not very reliable, neither here nor there. But I just have been drawn to this deck. And again, I'll drop the information um, in the description for this video. But I was drawn to this deck because not only the fancy schmancy red um, lining of it, but I find the illustrations to be so beautiful, and they particularly speak to me. So anyway, that being said, Bonefire Tarot, we're running out here on my beautiful hourglass. So let's go ahead and say, Spirit, what can you tell us about this drama queen? What can this drama queen really look at internally to come more into balance with the real world and what he or she wants? Also, by the way, fierce red eyeshadow. I gotta tell you, as somebody who picked up um, the makeup bug during a certain period where we were not allowed to leave our homes here, red eyeshadow that sticks like that is pretty hard to come by. So this is somebody who's very intentional in how they apply their makeup and present themselves to the world. Maybe that means something to you, maybe it doesn't, maybe I'm rambling. It's been known to happen. So Spirit, let's talk about this drama queen. We've got the Five of Coins. So the Five of Coins in the traditional tarot is somebody who feels like they're left out in the cold, somebody who feels like they're excluded, they're not welcome, they're not ready. But you know what I love, and this is why I love some of these pictorial decks, is because I'm an intuitive reader, and I look at the pictures and I say, what do I see here? And I see this individual who, first of all, God bless, needs a snack. She looks like she's been through it. She's um, been to battle. She's got like this helmet here, which makes me think of like mercurial energy. Someone like, when I think of Mercury, I think of mercurial, those boots that Mercury would wear in traditional mythology with the wings, like there's messages. So maybe this person has a lot of messages and emails, perhaps. I know, like, I can't stand having emails in my inbox just lingering. Perhaps this person's got a lot of work emails on his or her mind, and the solution is in here. The solution is in maybe the home, the family, the life that's in here for this person. And yet, this person is voluntarily keeping in this card herself, but it could be anybody, him, her, non-gender binary person, whatever. This person is keeping themselves in the outside. They've got all this work in my mind on their mind, you know, but a fire in their heart. They want more. They want that love, that hearth, that home. But and the door is open for that, but they're not ready to embrace it, you know. And I think we've got this, we've got, and I want to put this up here for you to see better. Above the hearth there, we have a cup, which typically represents love. And, so there's, I think, a cup of love in this home ready for this person. But instead, we've got this bull, this Taurian energy, if you're a Taurus, which is, a lot of times our earth signs, your Taurus, your Capricorn, your Virgo, these are people who are very committed to their work, to their success, to, keeping on with their efforts, which again is not a bad thing. I'm not judging it. What I'm saying is, I think this person is so focused on the work, the commitment, the building, and the things that are on their mind, that they're missing out. They're missing out on this cup of love, on the passion and the flame of home, the stability. And this door is open, it's waiting. So as I see it, combined with the drama queen, perhaps, take a real look inside. What is that are you presenting as someone who is calm and cool on the outside, but inside you're struggling? The weight of the world is on you. You know that you would really like to be in this home. You really want this love, this fire, this passion, this comfort, but you're putting on a bold face. And I think that those two cards very clearly tie together. Spirit, I'm going to go ahead and ask, and by the way, it's also a coins card, which of course, like I said, it's earth energy. Not that it really matters. It's just, something that might trigger something for you. But the coins energy, I mean, think about it. It's coins. It's money. You're thinking about your money. You got your mind on your money and your money on your mind, as one does. Spirit, let's talk about this meditation mishap. What's going on with that? Spirit, what's going on with our meditation mishap? Clarity, please, Spirit. And by the way, not for nothing, I'm not a religious person myself, but we do also have the cross over here in this card outside of the door. And perhaps, again, this individual is on the other side of that. Perhaps your faith is important to you and it's something else you've been ignoring and letting go of in favor of your work, your commitments, your obligations, and you're missing out on it. Your eyes are closed. You're not seeing it in front of you. You don't. I don't know. Listen. The people who are listening to this, y'all are smart. You're listening to this because you know about work, you know about drive and career and ambition, and you know what I'm saying. So enough of that. Let me go ahead and get clarification on the meditation mishap. One more shuffle here. Okay, meditation mishap. Spirit, what is that about? We've got the sun. The sun, of course, happiest deck in the tarot. Excuse me, words. Happiest card in the tarot deck. This is one of course, our major arcana, number 19. Perhaps the 19 is a specific number that's important to you. Maybe you're born in the 19th. Maybe you are a path 1, because 1 and 9 is 10, and then 1 and 0 is 1. Maybe your birthday is 1/9 or 9/1. Maybe you were born like me in ye old 1900s, but whatever the case may be, what I love, again, with these pictorial cards is we see a very different interpretation of the sun card than we would in some of the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, because yes, we of course have an obvious sun, which by the way looks a little bit to me like the sun from the Teletubbies. Maybe that's significant. I don't know, but it's a little weird. And we've got two people here, what appears to be very honestly androgynous individuals. I mean, their necks are awfully close, so maybe they're someone who is some kind of conjoined twin. But I think it represents, at least as I'm reading it, duplicity, some kind of back and forth, some kind of, yes, I want to be happy, I want to see the sun, but also I'm over here looking off into oh, look at all these things that I need to do for work. Look at how much is going on. Look at all these emails and these tasks and these things that I have to do, these projects, these decks. Good Lord, everybody loves their decks and their PowerPoints and and this person I think is, the expression I get from this person. I mean, look at that expression. That is the face I have seen 1,000 times of somebody who has just been told, can you please, circle back with us on that tomorrow during the Teams meeting? Like, that's that look. And this person, meanwhile, I think is part of this person, and it's like, look at this happiness over here. Look at what we have. We can see this. We can see the happiness. We can see the flowers and the joy and the possibilities, but somehow being dragged down by this, but what about that Excel spreadsheet? You know? And to me, that's very similar to this meditation mishap, where, again, you're looking to this, you're trying to find your peace, you're trying to find your happiness, but there's all this noise work-wise. So again, very consistent, and I appreciate Spirit sharing that with us. All right, we're running out of time on our timer, and I'm trying to respect your time because we all got work to do on this fine Work It Wednesday. Again, thank you so much for joining me on This Is Not Legal Advice. I'm going to go ahead and pull a few cards that might help us clarify what we're dealing with here. And I appreciate Spirit doing it. I apologize that I have to split it into two separate smaller decks, separate but equal, which is a sad legal term that used to be in place. And I'm glad that it is no longer the case, but it seemed appropriate for a "this is not legal advice" analogy. We've got our two piles, and now I'm going to integrate them as we did C-E-G Alabama. And we're going to ask Spirit, what is it that we can see here further about these energies? Oh, I got one trying to run away. Boundaries respected. Look at that. That is perfect. The other person respects your personal space and boundaries. And, I think this is just so critical and so on point. We oftentimes put on this brave face like we can do it all. In work, we want to do it all. We want to be the best. We're raised, a lot of us, in a culture of work hard, work hard, work hard, and then you die. And that's not all there is to life. And I think we know that. That's the duplicity here. We know that. But sometimes we get to a point in an elevated state in our life where we have to drive home those boundaries. And if they're not respected, what do we do about that? And that is the challenge, I think, for us. That is the dichotomy here. How do we honor our interest in pursuing our careers while also honoring the other side of us that wants to have that? Oh, see, look at this. Spirit says, I'm going to hide this card from you, and I bet it's something sneaky, something interesting, something is hiding from us. I swear I can't even find the card. That's crazy. It's going to come to me later. Oh, there it is. It was, you know what? It was camouflaged by my extension cords. But, maybe we're extending ourselves too much. Maybe that's something there. And what do we have here? We have trust in process. Trust the progress of the relationship. Don't rush for answers. See that there? I'm sorry, but slight personal detour here. I remember these swings, and I was at a fair once, and it was a very small fair. One might even call it an unfair if one were so inclined. And the operator of the fair, who I'm sure was completely licensed and trustworthy, allowed us to ride this swing ride multiple times for extended periods of time. And it was fun at first. And before you know it, I was very sick. So I have motion sickness, and I didn't know it at the time, but I knew it pretty quickly thereafter. And I guess maybe there's a point to that story. I'm not sure, but maybe I guess what we thought was fun at first, what we thought was pursuing our passions at first, has gone on too long. Has gone on too long. And we need a chance to step away from it, step back, step away from it, meditate, silence the noise, and really think about what is it that we're being led to here. And follow that, take a look at that and see, what does that mean for us? Can we trust the process? Can we take a step back and make that daring leap into the sun instead of just focusing all the time on just the insurmountable amount of work that we have? Look at this. Look at this mess. You see this? I try to pull my next deck, total mess. And maybe that's how you feel like your life is right now. Like maybe you feel like your life is a mess. Maybe not externally, but internally. Maybe you feel internally your life is kind of a mess and nobody sees it but you. But I think Spirit is telling us, trust the process. Let it go. Stop. Don't keep going on this swing merry-go-round situation. It's not good for you. Again, it may have started off fun and games, but it's not there anymore, and it's okay. It's okay to let it go. It's okay to pursue something different. Let's see what else Spirit has to say here. I'm running low on my timer, so I'm trying to be fast and respect your time, because on This Is Not Legal Advice, we also understand that you guys have jobs. We all have jobs. We got things to do. Or you're looking for a job. And either way, things to do, people to please, places to be. So Spirit, oh, there we go. What would you say here? What's the advice? We've got new worlds. There are many more things for you to discover, so don't give up. More adventures. And this feels right here. Because not only do we have the sun, but we've got what appears to be some kind of Jupiter or other celestial body here. Again, don't give up. Don't get settled in here. There are more adventures out there. There are other exciting rides to go on. We all, at the end of this thing, we all end up in the same place. And spoiler alert, it's not alive. So look at those new worlds, fantasize, dream about those new worlds, step away from the cycle, step away from the spreadsheet, is what I'm saying, and what I think the cards are saying, and what Spirit's saying. And oh Lord, Spirit's also saying, hurry up, you got like 30 seconds on the timer. I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not gonna make it. I'll be close, but I'm not gonna make it. All right. Next advice from Spirit. Oh, I love the phoenix. The phoenix is my spirit animal. I'm not going to lie. I love the phoenix. It says, rising flames, let your passion guide you to the fulfilling purpose meant for you. Ignite your soul. Oh, if that isn't on par with everything we've talked about here, I don't know what else is. I mean, this is gorgeous. It's beautiful. This is, burning it down and starting again. This is suffering. Unfortunately, nobody likes to suffer. I mean, maybe some people, but that's the different reading we could do after dark. But, you only by burning it down sometimes can you really have the opportunity to start fresh. And like I was saying earlier, if you're not willing to voluntarily step away from what is in front of you in this world and what you have, thinking, oh, this is comfortable, this is nice, the universe can burn it down for you. And then you have no choice. I mean, you could fall apart, but you could also rise like the phoenix. Maybe that terrible, horrible thing that you thought you had experienced was an opportunity to start fresh, to pursue that passion, to balance perhaps the different aspects of your life that you were ignoring otherwise. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a look at some of what's called the not sorry affirmations. These are with bite. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize on Spirit's behalf in advance because these cards get a little saucy and straightforward sometimes. So I apologize. I mean, I shouldn't, but I'm trying to be polite. So what I'm going to ask is for 4 cards for us, Spirit, to send us on our way and give us some kind of harsh truth that maybe snaps us out of this facade, wakes us up out of this troubled slumber, and allows us to get out of our patterns, to draw our boundaries, to dream big, to rise from the ashes. What is the advice, Spirit? What is the advice for my viewers on this is not legal advice? What is, I mean, not my advice, but not legal advice. Spirit, what is your advice? Once again, thank you so much for joining me today on this Work It Wednesday. Make It Monday was Monday. This is Wednesday, so this is Work It Wednesday. Thank you for joining. Whatever Wednesday this may find you on, or whatever day at all that may be. But this is career, and let's find out what Spirit has to say. I think we're ready. You don't need clarity. You need a push and a deadline. My Lord. If I was not just saying that, strike me down. It is the idea of, if you're waiting for that moment of clarity where all of a sudden things are going to change, you're waiting in error. You need a push and a deadline. I'm hearing a sort of that ADD, ADHD trait that people like myself and others I know deal with, which is like, okay, well, I have till tomorrow night to do it. And then it's like magically genius comes out tomorrow afternoon, right? But in terms of what we're talking about today, if you're waiting to leave a situation, maybe a comfortable job that you're not happy with, but it is what it is, if you're sitting there waiting for that lightning to strike, for this cloud to clear, for the ride to stop, it's not going to happen. You might get a push from the universe. You might get a deadline. And maybe that's the only way you move. I don't want that for you. I'm not risking that. Excuse me. I don't know why I said risking. I'm not wishing that upon you. Um, but sometimes you have to get to a point of extreme discomfort, or some might call it rock bottom, before you rise like that phoenix. All right, let's get 3 more, and then we will send you on your way. Because what are you even doing awake now? You got a job to do. You got a life to build. You got a crown to put on your head. Sunshine to see. What do we have here, Spirit? One more. Okay. You are not late. You're just lost. Oh, my Lord. I do love these cards. You're not late. You're just lost. Sometimes I've talked to people across all walks of life, and they feel like it's too late for me. I'm X amount of years old. How can I start again? I can't go back to school. I have a family to care for. And there's a lot of I can't. And it's too late for me. That's what I hear. It's too late for me. I'm X amount of years old. I can't start again. I can't do this again. It's too late. But you're not late. You're never late. You are right on time. Which now takes me back to, again, music with me is everything. That Toto song, right? Hold the line. Love isn't always on time. Now, we're not talking love today. We're talking career. But you're not late. Everything happens in perfect timing. You're just a little lost right now. You're a little in your head. You're spinning around. You don't know what to do. And that's okay. It's okay not to know what to do. And stop, if I may, stop pushing yourself and punishing yourself mentally. You're not late. You're right on time. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing right now. Fix your habits, not your vibe. Okay. There's some kind of phrase that says like, hi, and I'm going to mess it up totally. I know I am, and it's fine. But the idea, the concept is, an action leads to a habit, which leads to this, which leads to blah, blah, blah. The idea is you start small. You take that one step. You investigate. You know what? I've always wanted to be, perhaps, I don't know why I'm thinking of this, an interior designer. Maybe I research a course on that. Maybe I shadow with an interior designer. You start small with that kind of habit of exploring, dipping your toe in the possibility of a new world for yourself. You don't just sit and you hope and, oh, maybe it'll feel right one day. It may never feel right. I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes tough choices don't just feel right, but you do it. You take the leap. I don't want to say jump off this waterfall because it looks like you might experience some kind of cranial or spinal injury from that. Not neither here nor there. But my point is, and I think this point of this card is, basically start small. Start small, take small actions, investigate, research, look into what is your passion? What is it that's really cooking in here that would make you happy? And don't just sit there and wait for the vibe to feel right, because it may never feel right. And you do it anyway. Do you want to wait until the universe burns it down for you, or you want to take the leap into this beautiful, looks like it's in Maui or something, or some kind of Malaysian area, waterfall. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking of vacation. I would love a vacation. It'd be nice. Drop a comment here if you got a vacation coming up, where you're going, what you're up to. I need to live vicariously right now because, we all work. It's crazy. But I do love my job, so whatever. Not the point. I would never ask anybody to do anything I haven't done myself, and I can tell you that I have personally taken that leap, and I think the leap never stops. The destruction and rebirth, it never stops. when you're not growing, you're dying. And when you're staying stagnant, you're miserable outside. You're missing the good things in your life. So never be afraid to challenge those things. So what's our last card on this here, Spirit? What's our last card? You asked for change. Now what? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I love it. What a fitting end. You asked for change. Now what? Maybe some of you are sitting, praying, meditating, focusing, just fantasizing about what would my life look like if? What if I pursued that dream? What if I left this dead end job that is okay? Maybe I don't hate it. It's all right. Pays the bills. But what if? What if? And then the change happens. Now what? Now what? Are you going to rise like our phoenix over here? Are you going to focus on the sun, on the positive, on the possibilities instead of the negative? Are you going to fashion your life the way you want it instead of hiding behind the mask of the drama queen? Are you going to set your boundaries? Are you going to reach for new worlds that you perhaps hadn't thought of? Are you going to get off the cycle? You asked for change. Now what? I could not ask for a more fitting end to a fine, fine reading on this Work It Wednesday. And I hope that something that we spoke about with Spirit today inspires you, maybe encourages you to explore new things. And I certainly hope that something about this encourages you to like, subscribe, share. It's free, at least so far, um, as far as I know with YouTube. But more importantly, I really wish you the best. It's not easy. It is not easy to do everything we talked about today, but it doesn't mean that it's not worth it. It doesn't mean that that sun isn't there, that the beauty isn't there, that you can't laugh with your friends along the way, that you can't rise to new glory, that you can't have the balance, the beauty of a home life. And I'm seeing now, for some reason, I want to say 5 of coins, so 519. Maybe your birthday is May 19th. I don't know. I don't know why I was called to say that. But if this reading is for you, you know who you are. You feel it in here. And I really wish you the best, because it is a hard road, but it's a road that is totally, totally worth it. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on Work It Wednesday on This Is Not Legal Advice. Thank you.